Good morning. It's Kate Quinn from Fabricated Quilts, and we are back for Free Motion Fridays. So today we're going to share just two designs. They're relatively common. I mean, I've seen them in a lot of different places, so they're not fantastically inventive and different. But what we're going to show you is how you can use them to create some movement in your quilt and create the illusion of distance. So I've got a little bit of a sample here. Let's see if we can make it visible for you guys. So notice how when we start down here at the bottom, these are pretty good size, bigger than an inch, and we can even make them bigger than that. And then notice how we're going to start making them just a little bit smaller, and then they'll get progressively a little smaller. So now you can see they're about this big, about this big. As we go towards the top, when we start to diminish them and shorten them, we create the illusion that this is further away. So we have this foreground concept where they're bigger, and then as they go up, they'll get a little smaller, and that creates the illusion of distance. And that's kind of the same thing we did here. Notice that these aren't perfect. They don't have to be. What's best is if you can just make them smooth. It's not about that this one has to match that one or that one. What will make this look all right is if your curve is just smooth. So think about as you're working on your clamshell, don't stop anywhere in this arc. Go whoo, like that, bump. And then if you need to rest, you can rest when your needle is right there. So let me show you real quick just some of the movement of the design, and I have one more tip that I'm going to give you. So this is just a fun crayon, that my kids have had from when they were younger, and I love to draw with this or something similar. And what do I want you to look for when you're practicing? If I use a really smooth roller ball pen, that pen is designed to decrease any friction between the pen and the paper to make it easier for you to write and less fatiguing. Well, I don't want you to use something like that. I want you to use something that's harder to write with and that makes you feel the contact with your paper and that makes you have to work harder to create the design. So by doing that, what you're doing is kinesthetically, you're creating some connection with that movement. You're giving your fingers more knowledge, more sensation of the movement, and that's going to help you train a little better. So let's get in a little closer to our paper. So hi, I'm going to say hi to a few people because we can. Jean-Marie, bon matin. Good morning. Priscilla Reed. Kate Steele, my Kate twin, Susan Mitchell-Henderson, and Lou Bold. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys joining me. So let me just show you the shape. We'll start with the mussels. Mussels is kind of a teardrop shape, and they can also be curvy. You can also just curve one side in, whichever you prefer. There's not much difference between the two, but this is going to be a little more romantic. This is going to be a little bit more what I call straightforward in the design. So once you make the teardrop, you're just going to kind of echo it back. And you'll echo it back as many times. Ooh, can you see there's a bump there? Darn it. Messing my quilting up already. Now, for the first couple, you want to try to come back as much as you can to the corner right there. You want to try to make that design come back to here. When you're finished with your last echo, you don't have to do that. You don't have to come all the way. You just can kind of suggestively come to this side. And if I want to start the next one, I could be down here, but then all of these kind of like are in a line. So I kind of don't want that. So I could just make this come out this way, and that helps me fill in that space. And then I could wing out and make the next one there. I don't have to always start from this bottom corner intersection. So I can choose where I want. So even though we have a little gap right here, look what we can do. When we come back here, we can just start our next one there, and then we have a little room there to come out, right? So there's our next one. And again, here, like if there's no room, suggestively touching right there. Now, once I'm kind of here, what do? What's next? I can easily just put one right there, or I can just move out and make another one up top. I don't have to make it come down to the bottom here. And what that does is maybe I can make this next one go a different direction like that. So don't be afraid to travel from the base here. You can even just like curve out. You know, this creates its own little fun detail, and then start your next one there. And what that does is it helps move these centers around so they're not all in the same spot, which I really like. Now, if we were doing a space, you could even just put some like little lines like this. So let's say that this is our space. So we want to make these ones kind of big. So you got to make a bigger starter, and you can make your echoes, and you can make more echoes, you know, depends on what you want. So we'll put one down this way here, and you can just cross and close it and come out. So always, if you have a boundary, don't be afraid to make part of it and then pretend that the rest is just invisible, because that helps make it seem more realistic, I think. So here we'll come out. So these are kind of big. You know, we're trying to make some big ones. So then when you get to this next section, it doesn't have to be right away. This next one could still be a little bit big, but you're going to start thinking about, now, how can I make these just a little bit smaller? Maybe my echoes are a little tighter. And here, if I don't want to put one right there, I need to fill down here. I can echo down here and get this one in here. Okay, and so now you could see these kind of have a little bit of a smaller look. So right in here, as I work my way back to this side, which I can do in any way. I can go like this if I need to, if I felt like this, or I can make my small ones and then work my way over here. Ideally, if I have a long space, I'm going to try to work the same size mostly across the whole space on the bottom. And then I'll jump up and I'll work a little bit and then move over and work a little bit and move over and work a little bit. I wouldn't want to fill all this way up to the top and then have this side just like not done. I would want to fill a little as I go and then travel back. So here, as we work backwards, we're going to put those smaller ones in. Try to work my way so I can come over. You can always echo to get yourself in there. And here, echo. And I can echo again. Like if I don't want to, see how these are kind of like going this way, they're going down. If I don't want to continue that, I'll just echo back to here and then I'll start making a big one to fill that in. Make a really big one. And varying size is really useful. It helps create a little bit of visual variety. We don't want them all to be the same size. So even among the big ones, you could have a really big one and then a little bit less big one and vary those up, and that'll help. So let's see what this looks like, right? Let's start sewing. We can talk all we want. So I kind of created some spaces, and just to help you get that sense of getting farther away, we're going to create where these will be big and then they'll kind of go in this angle. So they'll actually kind of go in the centralized, so they'll get smaller as we get up here. So let's go ahead. We'll just pick a spot, any old spot, and we'll get our bobbin thread up. And again, I think that using my ruler foot is really useful for this because there's a natural spacing that the ruler foot can give me, but I will be the first one to admit that your visibility is not as good with the ruler foot. So if the visibility is really important to you, then you may want to choose something different. So remember, we want these to be kind of big at the beginning. The other thing that's really cool about this exercise is by varying the size, we automatically are training ourselves to make sure that we can do it in different sizes. And here, I'll just put this echo in because there's not much to do there. So you can see we can't really fit too much in there, so we'll just continue the shape right here. And now here, we can either start a new one or we can just continue this echo partially like this. And then that can be our next one. So here we'll fill that in, come across. And so I want you to see right there, I wanted to come back to kind of close this because this was getting really wide. So let's come back out a little bit and we can start here. We do want to make them a little longer. Come in. Okay, so what do we do with this little space right here? I can just hop over and I can wiggle out. All right, and same thing here. Let's hop over. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got right there. So let's get you down just a little bit further. So kind of this is like, you know, about that size. So what we're going to start doing now is just try to shorten things up just a little bit. And something else that you can do just as a visual marker is to kind of put a little reference line. So you can kind of do like this and then maybe like this. Because what happens if you have a really big space, it's really hard to judge if you're actually doing it. So what we'll do is we'll consciously try to make these a little closer in size. And then when I hit this line, I'll start making these noticeably smaller than this. So these should be big, and then you should really be able to look along the line and see a dramatic change in size. So did you see I used that edging there to travel? Right along here. I didn't feel like I could put something in there, and rather than try to crowd it, I just echoed it and traveled up my seam. And that's a good way to help get you out of a trouble spot if you need to. So let's kind of come over here. And if you're going to echo, make sure you do it, you know, somewhat regularly, because you don't want to have all your echo be right here. You want, you know, some echo around, distributed. So can you see now we definitely are getting that look of big, and now we're starting to move up smaller. And now what we'll do is we want these to be even smaller. And another option for you to practice and make sure that you're doing things in different directions. So now, instead of being able to do them in what I consider to be like the front way where you're making the hook and you're going over, can you do it upside down? Can you do that? Let's try it. Let's see what happens. I don't know. So we're noticeably going to make these a little smaller. Just try to keep them nice and round. So I just put a little something in there. Something else that can help make these a little shorter now is maybe only doing 2 echoes instead of as many. That's just a really simple way that we can shorten them up. Whew, going a little too fast for my own brain. All right, let's tie it off and see what we get. Alrighty, cut. So what do you think? Do you think you can see that illusion of distance that we've created there by making them smaller and smaller as we go? So I think that the visual weight of this, like the idea of the symmetrical balance and the weight, clearly that looks like you're going further away, that this looks like it's in front, and there's this idea that this is going away from you. So like when you would put this on something, it would be kind of weird if you did it like that. It would seem like it was upside down. Oh wait, it is upside down. But you know, so when you think about putting something like this in, you kind of want to consider that this is the bottom and then this is far away from you. So this feels like the bottom. So if you're putting this in something where you're trying to create like a field or something like that, and you want somebody to feel like this is the front, make sure that this part is where the front is, whatever the front might be. Okay, so let's do the other one real quick. And, you know, you guys can see, I'm not hiding anything. It's imperfect. I want you to make sure you see that because it's okay, you know, it's going to be fine. Especially if I used a lower contrast. I mean, I always use a high contrast for you guys to see. But if I had this in like a charcoal or something like that, you get this amazing texture and you wouldn't be able to see any little bobbles if they're in there. The more you quilt, the less they can see, right? Okay, so let's do our second one. Let me get my little pen back out. And just want to talk to you about clamshells. So if you're going to do a clamshell and you're going to freehand it, be prepared for things not to be perfect, okay? You have to be prepared because it's hard. If this is our baseline, I could mark everything and try to make it perfect, but the only way it's perfect is with a ruler. If you're sewing it as a human being, you can maybe put a reference line like that, and you can say, okay, my first ones will touch that. Give or take. They're not going to be perfect because they're not going to be perfect, so it's okay. So once I make my first row, I could even make graduated rows if I wanted to, like make skinnier rows and skinnier rows. We're going to do it without lines, but that is something you could use if you need that help. So here, if this is the middle where the top is, that's your new start point. So what I'm going to do is the needle would be here, and I'm not going to look too much right here. I'm going to look right there. So I'm going to say, okay, smooth bump. Smooth bump. I'm looking for the middle approximately. And if it's off, nobody cares. Don't worry. It's fine. Okay. Well, see, it even got bigger. We could make it like at a skinny down here and make it get bigger even. So again, if this is the middle, this is your next one. Try to just make it smooth. And another key tip for clamshells is right here, don't go down below. Even 1 or 2 stitches. Better that you suggestively don't touch here and keep going than this, because your eye will go right to that. Here, your eye will fill it in. If it's not touching, the eye will assume that it is, right? So this is a no-no. It's okay to cut it short. Try not to go down below. So then we'll just keep going, and you can just come back. Okay, now I'm going to show you one more thing. We're going to make it go crazy. You ready? Okay, now, as we're going, we can change the orientation so quickly by this. Make it go short, 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 like this. And you know what that does? Now it's moving over. We're creating movement with it by making it turn. So now it looks like there's some kind of a situation going on, some kind of different movement. And we can come back with the next one and put a couple of rows in that are regular, like right in the middle. And then that makes it look like you've got landscape movement, like you would if you were, out in the desert and movement, mountains are behind mountains kind of a deal. So we can just maybe do one more like that. Now we want to start making them smaller. Okay, so we got a lot in there. Now let's start making them littler. So we can't make them match if they're littler. We kind of have to just make them do whatever they're going to do. It's okay. So do you see what's happening? Now it starts to get really wonky. So now let's make them little, skinnier, flatter. Okay, now we're just going to go crazy. Ready? Now we're just going to slightly kind of echo them a little bit. And we have to start shortening it if they're going to go away, right? So we can't just keep going, because we have to create that illusion that our vanishing point is over here. So we have to kind of make it smaller, narrower. And now we can just put some different little echoes in there. Real gentle. You can even make them kind of get where they get almost flat, like that. So I like to do these kind of when you have a little bit of a triangle. So you'll see that's why I chose the shape that I did this morning, because as we make those bigger and we go towards that vanishing point in the triangle, you can really create that sensation of really big in the front, and then we can create some zigzag jogging and motion, and I love that. It kind of feels like it goes like this, and then it just drifts off into our vanishing point. Oh, okay, crazy. I know, it's crazy. But what I love about that design, it doesn't have to be perfect, because it isn't. So let's make a couple of reference lines so we can start off nice and big. We'll say, let's start off with our first row kind of like that. And then we'll just go from there. And you don't have to do this. You can just do it yourself if you want to without the line. But if you're training, the line is a great helper to give you a visual representation. So I know that I want to go there. So like if I want a skinny clamshell, then I can make a skinny one. And the line can help me do that. If I want it to be more gradual, then the line can help me do that also. Okay? So this can be a really big helper for you. I like mine to be a little bit not so quite tall and skinny, so I'm going to try to spread mine out a little bit. And let's tack this as well. Okay, so let's get it so you could see. Let's get you up in there so we can give you a good view. All right, if you got a question, I'll kind of look through here real quick, see if we have a quick question as we go. Oh, we got to hurry up. We only got a few minutes. Okay, well, let's get sewing. All right, again, we're doing it upside down, and we'll kind of change it as we go just so we can smooth curve. Okay, so that's what you want to concentrate on. Try to make, the top be splitting this in the same distance here and here, because we don't want to like an oblong. We want it smooth. So come up nice and smooth. And, I've drawn these out many times, so if you want to draw them out, that can be helpful too. Whatever you get over here, you get. Don't try to crowd one in there. It's not worth it. Just let it come up. And wherever it is, that's where it is. So here, this is that travel. We need to think about how deep do we want this next one. So when we travel here, we're going to be coming back in there. If you're not sure, you can always draw it in to give yourself kind of the idea. That can help you make that judgment. How far up do I need to travel in order to be able to get the shape that I want? Over stitching, always do it whenever you can. I believe in it. All right, so if you're going to rest there at the top. Remember what I said. It's okay if you don't touch, just don't go below. Right, so now we'll start our next one. We have no line, so we're going to have to guess. Aim for the middle. Aim for the middle. Okay, so we've got 2 big rows. If we don't start getting smaller pretty soon, we're going to be in trouble. So let's start making them a little narrower. And we'll still aim for the middle, but they're shorter. Okay, so you can see they're kind of starting to get smaller. Let's go ahead and we'll move up just a little bit. Maybe too much, right? I wanted to get in the middle there, right? So let's come back just a little bit. Aim for the middle. Okay, and now we can start maybe doing that little offset like we talked about. So we'll come up a little bit, and we'll come short of the middle, right there. Short of the middle. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so you can see we're kind of getting that travel. They are definitely getting smaller. So what we'll do, let's put in 2 rows that are essentially this same height and right in the middle, because that'll let us build up a little bit of texture there that kind of looks like we're on the same level. So we don't have to change every single row. Okay, and now we can start maybe doing just a slight echo here as we're starting to get further out. This is kind of an echo. Move up. We want to make the echo shallower as we go. So this is sort of suggestive now as we get here. So we'll just keep moving up, and maybe we can make them a little bit more softer. All right, and so we'll go ahead and tack that off. All right, let's cut that. And then we'll give you a good look. So that's also, a great way to practice any directionality. You can go ahead and on the smaller pieces, intentionally rotate to force yourself to be able to look at it in a different perspective. And you can really see on that one, that definitely has the look of you know, foreground, background kind of a deal. You just kind of like, that's your skyline off to your vanishing point. So really fun, just a little idea to get you thinking about how you can make the quilting work for you and change your dynamics as you go. And let's see, we do have, hi Delaware, hi California. I know we have UK, hi Judy. Melanie Davis, thank you for coming. Beverly, thanks for watching. So let's see, no questions. So just a reminder, hi Susan Tapp. I'm going to remind you guys that we did Feather Frolic last week, and I went ahead and I posted that on my Free Motion Fridays YouTube playlist on Fabricated Quilts. So if you wanted to watch it at any time, you can access it there without having to look through so many areas to find it. And on October 16th, which is Friday, I will be home and we're going to be doing our drawing. So our random drawing for Feather Frolics is if you try a Feather Frolic and you send me the picture, you can send it to info@fabricatedquilts.com. And I won't necessarily post your picture if you don't want me to. I don't care if it's good or bad. What I want is I want you to not be afraid. I want you to try it. And if it doesn't work out and you're not happy with it, that's okay. But the goal of the Free Motion Fridays is just to create a little fearlessness in our free motion without, you know, worrying too much about if it's perfect or not. Just to say, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm just going to do it. So you can always try to sew along with me if you want. You know, I know it's a short, but if you have just like some scrappy pieces that you're willing to donate to the cause, and then if you send me your picture, I will enter your name in the drawing, and I'm going to put together a little quilting care package with some goodies that I like and some things for you to try. And I will draw one winner at random on October 16th. I will announce the winner on the Free Motion Fridays at 10. But you can view it on YouTube or on Facebook. But if you send me your try, then we're just going to have a little drawing. So it's not that you win because yours is the best. We're drawing at random. We want participation. We're not too worried about perfection. So if you're interested in that, it was posted last Friday. And like I said, it's also going to be posted on YouTube this morning at 10. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being here. I so appreciate you. And please share this content if you have friends that might want to join our little fun Free Motion Frolic adventure. And if anybody else that you know is interested in expanding their free motion skills. So have a great day, and I will see you guys on Sunday. As per normal, my hair is on fire and I don't know what I'm doing yet, so I can't tell you what I'm doing on Sunday, but hopefully it will be awesome, and I will see you there. So thank you guys. Bye-bye.